Before the seditious acts that took place in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021, there was Colfax, Louisiana. A total of 5 lives were lost on January 6, but by comparison, between 65 and 150 lives were lost in Colfax, and an overwhelming majority were black. But history is repetitive. Those who were charged in Colfax were never punished, and a majority of those found guilty of the seditious acts on January 6th were eventually pardoned. In the dim of light of dawn on April 13, 1873, Colfax, Louisiana became the scene of the most brutal racial massacre in American history. White supremacists, emboldened by the political chaos of Reconstruction, laid siege to a courthouse where black citizens had gathered to assert their rights. They came armed and fueled by a sense of entitlement, seeking to overturn the recent electoral victories of their black neighbors. The day ended with over 100 African Americans dead, their lives extinguished by men who would face little to no accountability for their heinous acts. Among the survivors of that dark day was Elijah Smith, a man whose life had already been marred by loss and betrayal. As the eldest son of a dark-skinned mulatto woman with long, straight hair and the plantation owner, Elijah had spent his early years in a world of duality. He was loved by his mother, but despised by the world, who saw him as less than human. After his mother was sold to another plantation as punishment for her relationship with the plantation owner, Elijah was left to care for his younger siblings. They remained on the plantation until the day of emancipation, never knowing where their mother had been taken or if she was still alive. The Colfax Massacre shattered any remaining illusions Elijah Smith had about justice in America. As he witnessed the murder of his neighbors, friends, and brothers in spirit, he felt a fire ignite within him, a relentless thirst for revenge against those who had perpetrated the horror. The men who slaughtered his community were declared innocent, their actions overlooked or justified by those in power. This was a country that had turned a blind eye to the suffering of Black Americans, and Elijah could not accept that. For a full year, Elijah became a phantom, slipping through the shadows of central Louisiana, tracking down the men who had committed the atrocities of that day. He was driven not only by the memory of the massacre, but by the haunting image of his mother, who had suffered the ultimate betrayal. Each name on his list was a chapter of his past, and each man he hunted was a piece of the puzzle that had shattered his family. The plantation owner, who had once been a father figure to Elijah in a twisted sense, was the first on the list. He had sold Elijah's mother out of spite, and now, as Elijah stood before him, he felt the weight of generations on his shoulder. The man was unaware of the storm that had been brewing in Elijah's heart. In the dead of night, as the moon bathed the old plantation, Elijah confronted him. What followed was a reckoning, a swift end for a man who thought he could escape the consequences of his actions. With each successful hunt, Elijah's resolve grew stronger. He tracked down 9 more men, each one connected to the massacre, each one a reminder of the pain that had been inflicted upon his community. Those who had taken lives were given no mercy. Elijah became the very thing they feared, a force of justice that would not be silenced. He also felt the weight of his actions. Was he becoming the monster they had been? Would he ever find peace? Elijah found himself standing over the last of his targets. This man had been a leader in the Colfax Massacre. As Elijah raised his weapon, he paused, the memories of his mother flooding back. He realized he was not just avenging her, he was seeking justice for all who had suffered. With a steady hand, he pulled the trigger, and in that moment, a powerful wave washed over him. It was not just revenge, it was liberation. The echoes of Colfax and the January 6th insurrection reverberated through history, both marked by a struggle against oppression and the pursuit of accountability. While the men who committed the atrocities in Colfax escaped justice in the eyes of the law, Elijah Smith ensured that their names would forever be linked to the consequences of their actions, a reminder that vengeance can sometimes be a form of justice when the world refuses to recognize the pain of those it has wronged. In the end, Elijah found himself not only a hunter of men, but a guardian of people's legacy, a legacy built on resilience, survival, and the unyielding quest for dignity in a world that had sought to strip it away.